Hello there, friends. Today is March 23rd, 2024, and today we're going to take a look at 4 different PSA graded rookie cards. We've got the CJ Stroud, the Justin Jefferson, Brock Purdy, and Puka Nacua. We're going to address what these cards are worth based upon 15 recent comps, established first, second, third offers, as well as I'll tell you what I personally would value these cards at if I were selling them for my own personal collection. So let's dive into these numbers. First, let's take a look at the CJ Stroud rookie card from the 2023 Panini Prizm set. It's a PSA 10 card number 339. On the right-hand side, we have 15 recent comps. All of these are taken off of eBay. They are all auction comps. No buy it now, no best offers. I like to see the bidding happen back and forth. As you can see, we have a very, very tight graph, which means we're going to have very little wiggle room when it comes to negotiating. And it's also important to know that these are PSA 10s, so across the board, there should be a little bit more stability for them. So I personally feel like I can use these numbers on eBay, in person, and back and forth. So let's see what we have below. As far as PSA submissions are concerned, 3,648 have been submitted. 1,705 have come back a perfect PSA 10. That's a 46.74% return rate. Pretty good, if I do say so myself. On the blue here, we have the average bid price. This is what the average winning bid was in order to get one of these cards at auction. It's $140.99. Next to that, we have average shipping of $5.34 to bring the out-the-door price to $146.34 to have it show up in the mail. I personally don't consider any of these numbers here to be fair market value for the card because there are fees that sellers must pay right off the top. So they're not bringing home $140.99. They're actually bringing home closer to $122.01. This is what I consider to be fair market value because this is what sellers are willing to let it go for. I know people say it's what people are willing to spend on it. In trading cards, I think the opposite. It's what a seller is willing to let it go for. So 122.01, I still prefer to get in a little bit lower than that. That's why I employ stoplight systems, especially when I'm bartering in person. I have a 70%, 75%, and 80% price point here. The green is my first offer, $98.70. The yellow is my second offer, $105.75. And then the final 80% offer is $112.80. Now, I like to use these in both cash offers as well as trades if I see something marked that I really, really want to get my hands on. Of course, I'm willing to trade cards within my own collection as long as I have that wiggle room, right? So I also like to make sure that I'm getting into the bottom third of sales when I have the chance to do that. So the bottom third, if I sort this ascending, I drop down 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Looks like $118.98 gets me into the bottom third of sales. That falls right between that 80 and fair market value price points. So that means that the 80% price point is where I'm willing to go to. That's also my hard stop for certain on this card. In order to sell in the top third of the market, you go 5 from the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. $122.89 really doesn't leave you much profit margin, but you certainly have that consistency of the card. You can bet you'd be able to sell it pretty easily. So that's what I think this card is worth. I'd be willing to go to $112.80. I would prefer to market at $123 or above, and that amounts to an $142 buy it now in order to get that same profit margin that you would see for $122.89. Now let's take a look at a receiver, Justin Jefferson, in my opinion, the best receiver in the league, and I know I'm not the only one in that boat who thinks that. This is card number 398 from the 2020 Prizm set. All of these are actually going to be Prizms, so we can compare and contrast back and forth. Again, PSA 10, but what's interesting about this card is we are seeing a lot of variability, and this is why I am targeting this card because variability, while yes, obviously not as stable, that means that there's potential to swing some profit by getting in low and selling on high. So down below, we have PSA submissions, 4,617 submissions, 1,292 are coming back a PSA 10. Interestingly enough, that is a 28%. That is so much lower than the CJ Stroud. It's pretty insane. And actually, we're getting very close to this. The CJ Stroud's cards are getting very close to the overall submission rate of Justin Jefferson. So, because of that, obviously, they're going to be a little harder to find. And for me, that certainly increases that intrigue quite a bit. Obviously, he's not a quarterback, but I mean, he's the best receiver in the league. So, $70.10 is average bid, $60.52 is average take home for sellers, and $49.07 is your first offer, my first offer, I should say. In order to get into the bottom third of sales, we need to $53.49. That actually is going to fall between my 75 and 80% offers. This number becomes my new final offer, $53.49. I'm not going up to 80%. And the reason why we don't have to is, again, the variability that is in this graph in general. I think I can easily get a card at that price point if I wanted to. So let's go back to sort this again one more time, ascending, and drop down or up 5 from the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. $63.03 would net me almost a $10 profit on this card, which, yeah, we saw that with the CJ Stroud, but that represents a much higher percentage return on this card, closer to that 20% range than the 10% or less range that the CJ Stroud had. So I'm very much interested in this card right now, just keeping my eye out for those more approachable numbers to show up. So 63.03 equates to a $73 or higher. Buy it now. Brock Purdy up next. Okay, so card number 353 out of the 2022 Prizm. Again, some nice variability. We're about 50% low to high. So we've got about 105 as the low, right around there. Maybe a little bit lower than that. Where was that? $100 was the low. 162 is the high. For, again, a PSA 10 grade, this variability is pretty insane to me. So that's where I see, again, my opportunities. Down below, average bid 124.74, average take home for sellers 107.91, and first offers 87.32. Let's compare those again to the CJ Stroud. So 124.74 is the blue, 140.99. So we're approaching pretty close to the current reigning rookie of the year as far as price point is concerned. We've had 5,747 submissions, and a whopping 3,336 have come back as a 10. That's nearly a 60% return rate. There's a lot of these cards out there, and you can only expect that to go up. So I personally, because of that number and that return rate, would love to be closer to this yellow. Let's see if we can get closer to that 75% rate on this card. Sort of sending 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nope, not even close. We're close to that 80% with this 99.46 offer. That becomes my new final offer. I'd love to stay closer to that $93 range though. From the bottom up 5, 112.81, and that's about a $13 or so profit on this card. Again, you're tying up a bit more money than you would with the Justin Jefferson. So far, Justin is number one on my list for these four for the moment. Yeah, crazy. Wow. 60% return rate. That is just insanity. All right. $130.39 or above would be the buy it now that I would offer. Again, asking for $112.81. Puka Nacua. All right. Had an amazing season this past season. I'm actually surprised that his cards are so approachable right now. I will take it any day of the week because I'm hoping he's got some staying power. Now, we can see a bit of a downward trend on this card. Low to high, we're looking at $52. High is going to be $81. We've got that over 50% swing from low to high on this. Again, opportunity exists when you get at that point. Let's look down below. PSA submissions, 681. 304 have come back as a 10. That's a 44.64%. Significantly lower number of them on the market right now. Supply, demand, who knows? But as far as the supply is concerned, not very many there. And entering into the next season that we have coming up here, it'll be interesting to see whether or not this low supply gets eaten up by all the demand. Probably, man, those numbers are kind of sweet right now, actually. Obviously, because of that, the sale date range is closer to that 2-week range on this card, as opposed to the less than 1 week that we were seeing before with the CJ Strouds, and Justin had a bit of a longer time frame on that as well. But Brock Purdy, pretty tight as well on his as well. So 64.20 average bid, $55.39 average take home, $44.94 first offer. And to get into the bottom third once more, let's see where we find ourselves. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, $51.75, right above that 80% offer point. So I'm willing to go up to $51.36 if I have to. I'd love to stay, especially with that downward trend that we're seeing right now. I'd love to stay at this 75. So I'd love to pay up to $48 on this card. From the bottom, up 5, $56.96. Again, if you can get in on that $48 price point, you're making yourself about a $9 profit, which is going to be right in that 15 to 16, 17% return as far as profit margin is concerned. That equates to a $66 buy it now. So real quick here, fair offers for, or fair market value for CJ Stroud, $122. Jefferson, $60.52. We've got Brock Purdy at $107.91 and Puka Nacua at $55.39. If I am going after a player right now, it is Justin Jefferson. Just from the way the graphs are looking, how affordable this market is. I mean, he's the best wide receiver in the league right now. So of all the cards and what I'm seeing on these numbers, that's who I'm going after in order to make a few bucks on a swing, potentially. So hope this helps you understand what your cards are worth. If it did, let me know down below. Take care, my friends.